All right. Can anyone hear me? Okay. Yeah, we'll try see if it works. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but we'll at least give it a shot. Let's see. And let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat because I've been having a lot of issues recently. All right, you guys can hear me? Wow. That's good. One would think a PhD in engineering would qualify you for YouTube sound, but I guess not. All right. So, I mean, you guys know what's going on, right? The markets are moving again. It's been pretty lively the last few days, especially with Link, as many of you guys are aware, has been moving up quite significantly. I think we peaked a little over 18 bucks, but I just wanted to jump on a live show, see what kind of questions you guys have. If you have any, we can go through those. If not, then we don't have to go through them at all. But let me know if you do have any questions, and we can talk about them. So yeah, I mean, as we've said before, and as mentioned in the chat, right? Business as usual. Nothing has really changed. Bitcoin is still well above its. This is the daily chart, but we showed this in the video the other day, saying, when Bitcoin's moving sideways, the 20-day, which is right, that's what this says, the 20-day doesn't really seem to be that important. But when it's moving up, it can sometimes hold a region. It has happened, right? I mean, you can look back and see times where it does work out. And I mean, yeah, it could be a coincidence where the wicks came down to the 20-day. It could be not. But let's switch over to the weekly time frame, and this is the 20-week, right? So what you're seeing with Ethereum, what you're seeing with Link. What is it? I mean, as we said, it's just business as usual. These things are going to happen when Bitcoin stays bullish, right? We know we expect this to happen, and it's just a matter of of preparing for it. Preparing for the move that inevitably seems like it's basically destined to happen, right? So. And for those who aren't sure what the title means, let me know if you. I mean, I'm assuming that most of you know the Sea of Tranquility, but I was just trying to be a little bit more use a little bit more mature words, I guess. So, I mean, the talk of 3 hours ago, right, was Link, and it peaked out here, at least locally, at around 1865 or so, right? And we're gonna go through all of them, right? We're just getting started, so I feel like I have to start with Bitcoin, when we jump on the stream, because at the end of the day, most everything does come down to whether Bitcoin is remaining bullish or if it's bearish, right? So again, I mean, if we pull up our old faithful regression line, right? I mean, you can see exactly where we are, right? I mean, we're still in the regression line, so Bitcoin's still in the regression line. We're slowly moving up, business as usual. I mean, for Bitcoin, right, the show hasn't even really started, to be completely honest. I mean, this, Bitcoin going to 11,000 is but a drop in the bucket compared to what we're all hoping to see over the next market cycle. And during these market cycles, we expect, just like last market cycle, we expect key times, right, where the where other coins will move significantly, right? Those coins being Ethereum, those coins being Link, Cardano. There's a few others we cover on the channel like Tezos. We've talked about VeChain a little bit. Maybe I'll cover it in this video. But there's definitely a lot of coins that do tend to move, right? As long as Bitcoin stays above the 20-week moving average, right? And we've said that the longer that it stays above it, the more likely you're going to see these other coins remain confident and continue to basically climb that ladder. And that's ultimately what we want to do, right? I mean, we want to continue to climb the ladder because we have a long way to go. I mean, we recognize that the market is, if this is, right? I mean, if in fact this is the bull market, that it's likely just getting started, right? And we're going to have a lot of these, boom and bust sub-cycles in a sense where, think of it like this. So like Bitcoin, it's been around the longest, so it's less likely to explode as quickly. Like it's not going to pull like a Link and go from, it's not going to like go 3x in a week or anything, right? Bitcoin's likely not going to do that. But if you think about it, it's somewhat based on the maturity of the asset, right? So Bitcoin's been around the longest. You would expect the short-term ROI to be the lowest, but at the same time, the potential return, right? The potential return that you get on that. So the potential return for each unit of risk is pretty high, right? Because in terms of the entire market, Bitcoin is one of the ones that it's likely here to stay for the long haul. Like if you had to say, okay, what coin will be here 10 years from now, and you just had to pick one, I'm sure a lot of you might pick like Link or Cardano or Ethereum. I mean, I would pick Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin it's the most proven at this point. So yeah, the potential ROI on Bitcoin is the lowest, but the risk on it is also a lot lower. Then you have coins like Ethereum, Ether, and these coins, it's almost like you can think of them. The way I think of them is like one market cycle behind Bitcoin. So I kind of think of the potential ROI on Ethereum to just potentially be, give or take, right, one market cycle behind Bitcoin. And so this is the reason why I don't think that Ethereum will see the same types of gains it did last market cycle, right? We don't expect that, right? But we might expect something similar to what Bitcoin did. Now, everyone knows, right, that Bitcoin in the last cycle bottomed out at around $200. It was a little bit less than $200. If you go back all the way to 2015, you can see the wick here went all the way down to the 160s or so. But more or less, I mean, what's a few bucks among friends, right? Let's just call it approximately $200 or so. And then from there, it went up 100x, right? If we take a measured move from around $200 up to the peak at $20,000, you can see it was around, not close, I mean it was around 9,900% or so. So about 10x, or 100x I should say, so about 100x. And we've shown several different ways, paths that Ethereum could take to get to approximately a $10,000 Ether over the next several years, right? I think it's going to be a long cycle. It's going to be, these bubbles within bubbles, so like smaller bubbles within a larger bubble. So little bubbles kind of forming and popping and forming and popping. And then ultimately, when you look back on it, you'll see, oh yeah, it was one big bubble, but you had these smaller bubbles forming in the meantime. And so with Bitcoin, we saw that 100x move, right? And I don't think that Bitcoin is going to see a 100x move this cycle. And if it did, it would put it at 300k. So I don't think that's going to happen. But coins like Ethereum, I think it's possible. And if you go to where the let's take a move here. You can see that Ethereum bottomed out at around $100. Okay. And if we were to go up, let's go all the way up. I mean, you guys should be able to do the math on 100 times 10, but I mean, just for the sake of showing it, like, it's gonna put Ethereum, approximately at $10,000, right? And we expect this to happen. I mean, I certainly don't expect it to happen in 2021, maybe like 2023 or something like that. So I think this is a real possibility for Ether. Okay, I really do think it is a strong possibility for Ether over the market cycle to see a 100x. And the reason, right, is because it's essentially, and we've shown this on other charts, but it's essentially one market cycle behind Bitcoin is my best interpretation. And if we plot on here, let's add on here the closing price divided by the regression band. So we're going to go to the difference here. So this is what it looks like, right? And we know that when it's below 0, so I'm taking the natural log of this. So when it's below 0, this is basically below it, it's slightly above it. When it's below 0, it means that the closing price of Ethereum is lower than our fair value. So in this region, here to another time, barely hitting it there, hitting it here, and hitting it here, right? So these, right, I mean, these are the key times, right? Those times, as we said, like that is the opportunity. Like that is the opportunity of a lifetime. Not FOMOing into a coin when it's already up 10x, right? This is not smart money. And I always say, a lot of people enter the market as dumb money at a peak. They enter the market as dumb money at the peak, and they either capitulate as the dumb money, or maybe they do that, but then they become the smart money. Most people entering crypto aren't just automatically smart money, right? Like a lot of times for you to even be aware of crypto, you have to have heard about it on the news. And if you heard about it on the news, and that means the markets are really moving. And if the markets are moving, by the time you set up an account and you purchase that crypto, you're kind of lagging behind there, right? You're really lagging behind on the market. What you want to do is identify these, when the market is quiet, right? You want to identify the times when it's quiet in the market, when people aren't really talking about it, and that's when you get in, right? And for those who follow the channel, I mean, you guys know we were following these coins when it was relatively quiet. And now is when you reap the rewards, right? So now is when you start reaping the rewards, when you see these coins inevitably come out of their regression bands, right? So Ethereum has come out of its regression band. Bitcoin is still within its regression band, but I mean, the top of the regression band is a little over 13K. So it's just a matter of time, probably before it moves into that region. And so if you look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, right, you can see we're basically in the middle of the reaccumulation phase. And again, we've speculated, right? There's a good chance that Ethereum is going to come out of this reaccumulation phase, and there's a good chance in the short term that could happen, and that then we might come back down into it later on. But I do think that Ethereum with respect to Bitcoin, its valuation against Bitcoin, will need to spend some time, between 0.03 and 0.045. Like I think it's going to have to spend a significant amount of time there during the market cycle, likely several months. It's just a matter of, do we go straight into that, right? Do we just go straight into it, or do we go up and have a nice and timely speculative bubble form up here, and then come back into it, right? For like a real, say, reaccumulation. So this is the question. So I mean, again, it's just business as usual. As long as Bitcoin, and as we've said it all along, I mean, I'm sure you guys are somewhat tired of hearing it, but when you're making a lot of money, you probably don't get really tired of hearing it. But you guys can live it out, right? I said it during the bear market 1,000 times. You're probably bored to tears with it. And now you see it working, right? You see Bitcoin, the longer it stays above the 20-week, it's gonna send waves through the market. And it doesn't even matter if Bitcoin moves. Like Bitcoin could stay at 11.7 and other coins are gonna still probably keep moving because it's significantly above the 20-week moving average. So currently, if you take a measured move from the 20-week up, I mean, Bitcoin is approximately 25% above its 20-week moving average. So because it's 25% above it, it's fairly bullish. Therefore, other people are coming into the market because Bitcoin's doing well, and then you start speculating on altcoins like Ethereum, like Link, like Cardano, Tezos, VeChain, DeFi coins, whatever the flavor of the day is, right? And this is the name of the game. And The newer coins are the ones, like, so the ones that have not experienced a full bull market are likely the ones that will pump more, right? Because their true valuation and the way that they really move during a bull market is still fairly unknown. So people, speculators are going to speculate. And this is what, this is why you see such astronomical rises in coins like Link, right? Link has not been around for a bull market. And we've said that many times. Link has not been around for a bull market. Because it has not been around for a bull market, we don't know what it's capable of. We've observed that the trend of Link against Bitcoin, even in the bear market, was certainly a sight to behold, right? We know that, but we didn't know. We said, well, once Link gets to the bull market, we could break out of this trend, right? We identified, that general trend there, and I'm not really drawing that well, but that general trend, right? We identified it. But we said, once we get into a bull market, there's no telling what Link's going to do because it's never experienced a bull market before. And because it's never experienced a bull market before, it's hard to really say what its true valuation is because it came out, it came out at the very end of 2017. So it caught that tail end of the bull market. And then Bitcoin crashed, right? And then crypto crashed. So naturally, Link crashed as well. But we also know that the prior all-time high of Link, right, back in 2017, 2018, was, you can see it here, right? It was not even $2, and Link is now $17. So Link is approximately 8 to 9x, right, above its all-time high from 2017. And we've said before, right? Link is a coin. I don't know how many times I've said it, but Link is a coin that I personally. It's too risky not to hold it, right? Of course, there's a risk to holding it. There's, of course, a strong negative risk to purchasing it now, right? When it's up so much. But we were saying this at $2 and at $3 and at $4. There's a huge risk to not holding Link, and the reason is because it tends to move against Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin is cooling off or going sideways, sometimes it's when Bitcoin is actually going down. This is when Link is shining. The reason I have it in my portfolio is because, as I've said before, it increases the risk-adjusted returns of your cryptocurrency portfolio. And the reason it does that is because the negative volatility of Bitcoin tends to be offset by Link. So it improves your covariance matrix in calculating your risk-adjusted returns, right? And improves the Sharpe ratio on the efficient frontier. It's just traditional finance, quantitative finance. It does not, let the trend speak for itself, right? I can say fancy words all I want, but all you have to do is look at Link Bitcoin and say, you know what? This is a trend I want to be a part of. This here is a trend I want to be a part of. And yeah, at some point, Link will probably come back down, right? At some point, it probably will come back down, but it'll still likely continue on its merry way. The question, right, is when will it come back down, and trying to identify these speculative bubbles that form, right, in the meantime, trying to identify when these form. And this one here, and then this one that we're currently seeing. Because if you can try to identify these, and it does come back down, right, then you can continue to increase systematically your stack of Link. And if it doesn't, then you took your profits, which a lot of us are up at this point on Link. We're up 6 or 7x. So taking profits is certainly a good thing, right? You recognize the fact that, okay, it's not going to go up forever, but also recognizing that we don't know. If you look at Ethereum back in 2016. So back in 2016, if you look at Bitcoin, what was Bitcoin doing in early 2016? Well, it was holding the 20-week moving average as support, right? So this was the beginning of the bull market. And people didn't know it back then, right? We didn't know that was the beginning of the bull market, but it was. And if you look at Ethereum back in early 2016, right here, this is when Ethereum made its move, okay? And during that time, it went up 1,600%, okay? This is against the US dollar, and against Bitcoin during early 2016. Let's take another measured move. Whoops. So let's take it. We're not even going to take it from this bottom. We'll take it from this bottom up. It went up around 1,700% as well. So Ethereum went up with respect to USD and Bitcoin around 1,700% once Bitcoin confirmed the beginning of the bull market, right? Once it confirmed the beginning of the bull market. If you go to Link today, so this is in March, and let's just be conservative, right? Instead of taking it once we got above the 20-week, let's be conservative, and let's take it all the way down from the wick first and see how far up Link has gone. Okay, you can see from the bottom, it's gone up 1,264%, okay? Which is really not that dissimilar from what Ethereum did in the last market cycle, right? And why is that? Like, why are we seeing that with Link, but we're not necessarily seeing it with Ethereum right away? Well, it's the same idea. Bitcoin, it's the mover, right? It had the 2011 bull market. And most other coins in the in the future will never experience. I'm not going to say none of them, but most coins will not experience this, right? This was truly a run. I mean, this was a 52,000% move. Okay, I mean, just let that sink in. Yeah, because it went from pennies on the dollar up to $30. So a 52,000% move. So no coin is experiencing this, I don't think. Well, I don't want to say no coin. I'm sure there's been some that maybe go there for a second or come up close to it. I don't know, but the coin, this is like, this, right? This is the sea of tranquility, right? This is reaching the sea of tranquility. Then you have coins like Ethereum that came in 2015. There's other coins too, like you have Monero, Dash, Litecoin, and these were not all 2015. Some of them were 2013, 2014, XRP. You saw a lot of these coins see amazing gains, but most of them did not see anything close to this, right? And Ethereum, it saw a move, a 1,700% move here, and then it cooled off for a while. After it cooled off, it moved again, right? When did it move the second time? You guys know the answer to that. It moved the second time once Bitcoin got to its previous all-time high, and then it moved another 5,000%. Okay, another 5,000%, and then it moved again at the very end of the bull run, which was another like 400 or 500%. So Link is currently, it seems to me, right? It's just, hindsight will help us really hone in on what was going on. But it seems to me, right, that at least there is a lot of similarities right now between the current Link move, right, and then the Ethereum move that we saw back in 2016. And of course, even as we saw with Ethereum, at some point there will be a retracement. And Ethereum saw about a 50% retracement before it started, moving back up and then kind of settling out. And then if you take from that first peak down to the bottom before the next move, it was approximately like a 55% retracement. So Link will retrace at some point, right? It's just a matter of when. Like, is it going to make it to $18 and then retrace back to 10, or is it going to make it to $30 and then retrace back to maybe 15? I don't really know. I can't tell you the answer to that. What I can say, right, is it does seem to, as you said before, it seems to be one of the best coins to hold in a portfolio because of how systematically it moves up against the US dollar and against Bitcoin. So it tends to systematically move up against Bitcoin quite frequently. And this is the goal, right? Our goal is to continue to see these types of moves and to continuously take advantage of them, cash in on them, etc. So let me know what questions you guys have, because there's over 700 of you viewing. What is surprising to me is that there's 774 people viewing and only 67 likes. Come on, it's like 10%. And let me know if you guys have any questions. I want to remind you that if you are interested in how I'm taking profits, right? So there's a large group, and I do systematically take profits on Link, on Ethereum, on ADA, on Bitcoin. There's a way I systematically do it to ensure that I take profits on the way up. And it's just a reminder, if you want access to that, make sure you check out my website, intothecryptoverse.com. So if you want access to it, check it out. You'll get access to a weekly premium report, a weekly premium video, a Telegram alerts channel, which is telling you like alerts on what's going on in the markets, and my candid thoughts on the markets, like, you know, the way that I look at the risk levels for the different coins, and then also a chat room, and then finally a Google Sheets risk dashboard and a Google Sheets strategies dashboard. So check it out if you guys want, intothecryptoverse.com. The prices will be going up in a few weeks, either August or September. They're going to be going up. But if you get in now, you'll be grandfathered in at the lower price. So just an opportunity. If you want to pay with crypto, you can pay for 6 or 12 months and get a discount. So 12 months, you get like a 15% discount. And again, the prices are going to be going up in a few weeks, sometime in August or September. I'll try to get you guys a date once I know, but make sure you do check that out. I would also like to remind you that there is a Telegram channel that you guys should also check out, a public Telegram channel. So check it out. We have over 5,000 people in there. If you're looking for a place to talk crypto, and you don't really have a community that you can talk crypto with in real time, then check out the public Telegram channel, because there's a ton of people in there always talking about crypto. So make sure you check that out. And let's just continue on, guys. I mean, Link here, a lot of you guys are wondering, okay, well, Link, I mean, I'll tell you this, the people that were following me, we talked about the stop losses and either taking a stop loss to Bitcoin, right, which has worked out really well so far, a stop loss to Bitcoin in terms of reducing your overall risk to the market. And then someone was asking in the chat group, well, what is it Bitcoin or Ethereum? I mean, so to reduce your overall risk, generally Bitcoin. To potentially increase your ROI, a lot of times it's Ethereum, but there's no free lunch, right? If you're going to Ethereum, you're taking on extra units of risk, right? So it's risk, or it's reward per unit of risk, right? So that's the goal. Because if Bitcoin, it looks good now, right? I mean, it looks good now. Bitcoin's up, Ethereum's up, but if Bitcoin kicks the bucket, you can rest assured that Ethereum is going to drop harder. So remember, no free lunch. If you want the extra potential return, you have to pay for it in the form of units of risk, and this is just a fact, right? This is a fact. Someone said, how did you manage to predict the Link moon? I don't think I did predict it. I mean, I think it's more or less just being ready for it, right? It's just looking at these key times down here and looking at the 20-week moving average. And what I've done before is I've color-coded it based on whether it's above the 20-week, whether Bitcoin's above or below the 20-week moving average. So it's just looking at data science, not traditional TA, and noting that once Bitcoin gets above the 20-week, this is when Link goes parabolic, right? That is when Link goes parabolic. So we thought, right? We all thought, I mean, I said that this is likely when Link is going to go parabolic. I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen, right? I can't tell you if it's going to be this week or next month. But generally speaking, when Bitcoin gets above the 20-week and stays bullish, this is when Link shines. And again, you can see it shining. So it's just, I mean, it's business as usual, right? It's not like it's something completely unheard of. It's just, if you look at the past market data that we have, that is when Link tends to move. And yet again, that's when it moved, right? And that's when it moved. Just business as usual. And I mean, like, I did certainly take profits on Link. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I did take profits, but even now, it's at $17. Like, it could easily continue on up. The thing is we don't know where the peak is, right? And I've said this all along. Like, I want to prepare everyone for that, right? And this goes for any coin. We don't know where the peak is. The peak could be $18 or $18.50. The peak could be $25 tomorrow, or it could be $40 next week. We don't know, and because we don't know where the peak is, that's why I always stress dynamic dollar cost average, right? You systematically take profits. This is not financial advice. This is what I do. You systematically take profits on the way up, right? And you sell. What I do is I sell higher and higher amounts as the price goes up. And you can weight it differently. You can weight it by like the same percentage at each risk level. You can weight it by like a linear risk schedule or an exponential risk schedule. It's just a matter of what your risk tolerance is, right? I do it linearly, so I just go based on the risk levels. And again, if you want access to those, check out my website, intothecryptoverse.com. And the funny thing is right, like literally 10 minutes before Ethereum broke out, I put out an alert on the Telegram channel saying, all right, guys, it's at around $400. Let's turn our attention to Ethereum. And now it's up 10%. You know, this is, I mean, it's a happy coincidence, right? I mean, I certainly did not expect it to move that quickly, but it's nice to see, right? It's nice to see the narrative continue to play out, right? Switch it back, you know, ride the waves. You see Link go up, you see Link go into a bubble, a systematic bubble that you've seen happen many times. There's something to be said, right, about taking profits on the way up and putting them into something less risky, like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And then what do you see happen? Then you see the money pour back into those coins. Yes, you have to be cognizant of taxes, right? If taxes are gonna heavily burden you, then you don't have to sell. You don't have to do these, you know, speculative bubble sells, right? But the question is, you know, if Link goes back down to $10, are you gonna wish that you had sold some, right? That's the question. Like, are you gonna wish that you sold some? So the first thing you have to do is you have to recognize the three paths that we could go, right? Link could go up, Link could go down, or Link could go sideways, right? So knowing that, you can't pretend to know what's going to happen, right? You don't know if it's going to continue to go up, you don't know if it's about to crash, and you don't know if it's just going to go sideways. We don't know what's going to happen. So let's think about your future self, like your future self, yourself in a few weeks. Like what are you going to want? Well, let's say you're up 5x on Link. Well, if in a month Link has retraced, and I'm not saying it's going to retrace back to $4. Let me delete that, or let me change this up. I don't know that it would go back that far. But let's just say, you know, these are some possibilities. Let's say, you know, some of these are some possibilities as to what could happen. Is your future self okay with a potential retrace, a 50% retrace? Is your future self okay with that? If your future self is not okay with that, well then you might consider taking profits in this risk regime. Not selling everything, right? I still own a lot of Link, right? I still own a lot of it. Not selling everything. But the question is we know it's going to do one of three things. It's going to go up, it's going to go sideways, or it's going to go down. If it goes down, is your future self going to be okay with not having taken profits up here? If the answer is yes, then congratulations. Just, you know, continue to ride the wave, whatever it does. And then eventually, hopefully, you do take profits before, you know, another bear market, like a year or two long bear market happens, right? So this is the first scenario. The second scenario, right, is it goes up. And if it goes up, obviously, your future self would prefer that you took less profits now, right? If you have the chance to sell up here, then you don't want to be selling as much down here. So this is why what I say is, right, you know, on the way up, as I said before, I dynamic DCA. So I sell X here, right? It's hard to draw this, right? 2X. Let me get out the text box. So the idea, right, is you sell, you sell, let's say X at one level. You sell 2X at another level, and actually it should be, I normally refer to it as Y, right? Sorry, I think I lost the stream for a second. So what happens is when the risk gets above a certain level, like this, right? If you're selling, right, then you might sell a little bit here, you sell more here, more here, more here, more here, and whenever you get to the level where you want to start selling, right, which maybe it's that level, you just add up all the Link you have or whatever coin it is. And then for me, you know, you divide by 15 if you're selling on this schedule. And then so X divided by 15 would be your first sell, 2X divided by 15 would be the second, all the way up. So then at the highest risk level, if you make it there, you're selling 5X, which is 1/3 of your former position, right? So this is the goal. And so this is what I do, right? So I recognize that I don't know where the top is, so I just systematically sell on the way up. So the first one is like, and by the way, by doing this, it removes some of the risk, right? If it starts going back down in the short term, right? Because then you look back on it and you say, well, at least I took profits. If it continues to go up, then you sell more and more as it goes up, okay? And then if it goes sideways, right? I mean, then this is something entirely different altogether, right? And I mean, the timing on that sell so far, I mean, if you were in the alerts channel for the premium list, right? I mean, it's worked out well so far. I think a lot of people took profits a much higher than it is right now to either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Personally, I took it to Bitcoin because my risk in the market with Link was so much higher than I'm normally okay with. So I went ahead and put it back into Bitcoin just to reduce that overall risk in the market. And I'm fine with that, right? I'm fine with that. I own enough Ethereum. I have a ton of Ethereum, so I'm fine with that. And Ethereum, though, right now tends to be front running the market. So what we're looking for, right? And we've seen this before. We've seen this many times, right? We know this is business as usual, right? As Bitcoin stays above this level, we expect, gosh, this always, okay. As Bitcoin stays above that 20-week, we expect Ethereum and to Bitcoin dance with each other, right? It's this dance that goes on. And, you know, they dance back and forth, right? Ethereum moves, and then as long as Bitcoin doesn't kick the bucket, Ethereum isn't going to crash, right? And then Ethereum gets to a new level, and it kind of sits for a little bit. And then Bitcoin starts moving. And then you see the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio start to bleed again, right? So you have these boom and bust cycles, right? Like a boom and a bust. Boom cycle, bust cycle. Boom cycle, we don't know how high it's going to go, but then it's probably going to come back down at some point. So it's just a matter of catching all the rides, right? It's the gravy train, right? You know, hop aboard the gravy train. It's business as usual, right? You ride them up, you ride the coins up when they're going up into the speculative bubbles, you systematically take profits on a risk schedule back into lower risk coins, and then you watch those coins move up. You know, it's just business as usual. And you can see that, I mean, yeah, Ethereum is doing great. It's up 10% on the day. Bitcoin is certainly lagging behind. But if Ethereum stays bullish, right, and Ethereum cools down a little bit, you're likely going to see Bitcoin play some catch up. And it will probably play catch up at some point. So it's just a matter of waiting for that to happen. And you can see that as we make this video, the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is increasing. So hopefully, I mean, as I've been saying all along, I really do hope that, you know, I really do hope that we see a speculative bubble. Similar to one that maybe we're seeing with Link. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as pronounced as the one we saw with Link, but the idea is if we're lucky, then, right, I mean, first of all, whether you believe it's a 4-year cycle or a lengthening cycle, I tend to think lengthening. Whether you believe it's either one, there's still likely going to be a speculative bubble at some point in both of them before, say, a more major bubble later on, right? And we showed this with Ethereum USD. You know, you can look at the last market cycle and see that, you know, there was one bubble first. We returned to the regression band, and then there was a second bubble. So we've been saying this all along, right? That there's a good chance that we're going to see a bubble in Ethereum in the short term, and then maybe we'll come back down. And by the way, if we do come back down, it doesn't mean that the market is crashing, right? It could just mean that Bitcoin is making a run at 20K, right? And this is what it could mean. It could just mean that Bitcoin is making a run at 20K, and if Bitcoin is making a run at 20K, then Ethereum is likely going to bleed. And when I say it makes a run at 20K, I'm not meaning it goes to 13K. I'm talking when Bitcoin is already at 14K or 16K, and then it starts another bullish move, like yet another bullish move, right? So this is the goal. Like, this is the goal is to just continue to ride these. I mean, Bitcoin's doing pretty well. It's up a modest 2% on the day, but Ethereum is certainly the one shining at present time, and I'm sure part of it is profits from Link bleeding into it. So, you know, we're certainly gonna continue to follow this. If you're new and you're wondering, you're wondering what these things are, remember, check out the premium list. Prices will be going up soon into the cryptoverse.com. We have a premium alerts channel, and there's a lot of content. You get access to a weekly report, a weekly premium video, the Google Sheets risk dashboard, which gives you the risk levels of all the coins as I follow them and I trade between them, the private Telegram chat room, and then the strategies dashboard. And the reason the strategies dashboard is useful is because it shows you various sell schedules for different coins, right? You can see like different ways you could dynamic DCA your Bitcoin or Ethereum sells for a projected top and a projected amount of Ethereum or Bitcoin that you have. So you can enter it anonymously, right? And then you can look at the different strategies and then pick one that best suits you. So make sure you check out intothecryptoverse.com. Yeah, I mean, so far I'm really happy I took those profits in Link, but we'll see what happens. I also recognize that Link could be at $19 in an hour. So never discount Link Marines. I'll tell you that. It's one thing you always have to learn is, yeah, the price is going to retrace at some point, but it's really hard to predict exactly when that's going to happen. And if you try shorting Link, well, you're braver. You're pretty brave, right? You're pretty brave because Link can do a 180 in a very short period of time. Vincent, if you said you subscribed to the premium list and you didn't get an email, you should check your promotions tab, or you can send me a message on Telegram or an email, and we'll get you squared away. But sometimes it goes to spam or the promotions tab, so do check that. So, do you guys have any questions? Yeah, let's look at, we can pull up, someone asked if we could pull up ADA. So here's ADA Bitcoin. So this is my primary hedge against Ethereum. I don't talk about it as much on the channel, but I do cover Tezos some in the premium channel. And that's probably the next one that I'll do a risk metric for. The downside with a coin like Tezos, though, is that it doesn't have a lot of history, right? So because it doesn't have a lot of history, it calls into question exactly how useful, a risk metric would be for Tezos. But let me first pull up ADA. So ADA's at 13 cents. It's still up around 500 or 600%, I think, since March. So it has done pretty well, right? And if you look at say the monthly time frame on ADA, right? So this is the monthly time frame. It's still business as usual. I mean, I'm hoping that we see another candle close up here. But I mean, I think it's just it's patience, right? I mean, not all coins are gonna move at the same time. And this is why I think, at least having a small index of various coins, like for me, it's mainly Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. Of course, there are a few other coins I cover on the premium channel. For instance, I did start recently covering XTZ a lot more. And we'll probably cover some others too, especially as Bitcoin gets to its previous all-time high. Whenever that happens, then the game kind of changes a little bit. So, the game does change some there. So yeah, I mean, ADA Bitcoin, obviously this was our buy-in phase that we talked about for a really long time. We were expecting this move for sure. It happened. If you're buying at this point, I obviously cannot guarantee you anything, right? I mean, we could easily go back down here in the short term, or maybe we continue to go on up. I can't really make a short-term prediction on that. Remember, short-term moves are often more or less a random walk or geometric bounding in motion, in my opinion. So it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen in the immediate future. Herman says, why did you choose ADA and Link? Well, I chose Link because it solves the Oracle problem, right? You can connect real world data to the blockchain in an accurate and reliable way, and it has first mover advantage. I mean, I often think that when a coin touts a strong community, that it's basically worthless, right? Because what project doesn't say they have a good community? Like every project says they have a good community. But Link really does have a super strong community. Like, I mean, the Link Marines, right, a really strong community. And I mean, it speaks for itself, right? If you see moderators of a chat, if you find you're invested in a project, and someone asks like the CEO or something, like, what makes you different? If they just give the canned response of, oh well, we have a really great community. To me, I don't really like to hear that. I mean, I feel like if they have to say it, then it's probably not true. It's more like you just see the community, right? You see the community around the internet. You see them showing up. You see the coin continuing to go up. So I mean, there's that, right? And then the primary reason, though, in a very just honest and non-altruistic reason, right, is because Link goes up, right? I mean, as we showed, like the link. I don't have the Link Bitcoin ratio up right now because I replaced it with ADA, but the Link Bitcoin ratio goes up. Link USD continues to go up. Who does not want to be part of this trend, right? Who does not want to be part of that trend? And again, as I said, it reduces your risk. It increases your risk-adjusted returns. It improves the covariance matrix. Like, this is the reason why I'm in Link. The reason why for ADA is it's simply put, it's a hedge against Ethereum. I own a lot more Ethereum than I do ADA. Ethereum is definitely has a huge head start on ADA, but if I had to pick one as a hedge against Ethereum, I would pick ADA. If I had to pick two hedges, if I had to pick a second hedge against Ethereum, probably Tezos, right? Probably Tezos. So ADA and Tezos. But again, I own way more Ethereum than these others. So the number one holding I have is Bitcoin, and then number two is Ethereum. Okay. And number 3 and 4, I mean, it depends on which one of these is moving, right? And which ones I'm taking profits out of in the short term, and then I'm obviously DCAing at different points into either coin, depending on what they're doing. Tiago says, what's the refresh schedule for coin risk scores? So they're updated live on the dashboard. I just update the interpolated tables every week, and it tends to affect it in the third decimal. Not equal 25% in all coins. Very Original says, what is up with Bitcoin? Why can't it even outperform gold by a decent margin? Well, Bitcoin is up around, it was at 30, it was almost at 4,000 in March. So in the last few months, it's up 3x. Gold is not up 3x in the last few months. So I'm not really sure what you're talking about. The logarithmic regression zone for Bitcoin, which just fits at what I consider non-bubble data. Paul says, are you always taking profits from alts into Bitcoin? A lot of times I am. For instance, with Link and ADA, it usually goes to either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Back when Ethereum was 235, I was taking profits into Ethereum. So it just varies, right? It varies depending on the risk. And at the time, the Ethereum risk was really low, right? Because it was 235. So I recognized that it had a long way to go up. So at that time, the profits were going into Ethereum. So it just depends on the nature of the market, whether it goes into Bitcoin or Ethereum. Outdoor Adventure says, if the 100x Ethereum starts to happen, will you refit your band? I'm not really sure what you mean. I'm not really refitting anything right now. Someone says probability F 2.0 flops. I mean, I don't really know the problem. I think there's going to be some bugs that have to be figured out along the way, but I do think that it could be like whenever it does, when they get the bugs worked out and whatnot, it could be the final catalyst, right, for the bull market. I mean, it was Ethereum was the catalyst for the last bull market. It could be the catalyst for this bull market too, or maybe Link will be. I don't know, but it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen. I do think that there's some uncertainty, right, with 2.0, right, and because of that uncertainty, the price of Ethereum is not higher. If Ethereum had already transitioned to 2.0, then I think the price of Ethereum would be a lot higher right now. But there is some uncertainty there, and once that uncertainty is cleared away, then I think the price will be higher, right? I think the price will be a lot higher. The turmoil on getting there, though, is what makes getting in at the lower values riskier, right? I mean, the price now is 425, and a lot of people were able to get in between, say, $100 to $400, which is great. The people that are buying it at, like, say, $1,000 and $2,000 later on, they might, or even say $3,000, they might be jealous of people that were buying it at $300. But you took on more risk, right? If you're buying Ethereum now, you took on more risk because you're buying it in a very uncertain time. If they're buying it at $3,000, then it's likely that there is a nice transition to staking, right, to proof of stake. And at that time, there's a lot lower risk, and so the price is higher. So yeah, you're getting in early, but you're paying for it by taking on more units of risk. We have 910 people watching and only 374 likes. Let's get some more likes. Also, be sure to check out the Telegram channel. We do have in the Telegram channel, we do have over 5,000 people. So if you want access to a really large community where you can talk about crypto, then check out the Telegram channel. And you can also ask people in the Telegram channel what they think of the premium list, because we do have a lot of people on the premium list. And one of the nice things about the premium list is that you'll get access to a private Telegram chat room. So like the quality of the discussions, right, is higher, right, than it is in the public chat room, because there's fewer people, and I'm more available in those private in the private chat room. So do check it out. And again, you get access to a lot of different things: weekly reports, weekly videos, risk dashboards, alerts, etc. So, what kind of questions do you guys have? Leonardo says, if you grow out a beard, I will give you a like. Unfortunately, I can't. I mean, I can grow facial hair, but I don't think it looks very good. Yeah, so we're still going to watch Link a little bit. I mean, it's possible, right? It's possible that it recovers, right? I mean, it did this the other day. It came up and then it retraced a little bit and then continued on the run. The thing is, right, with bubbles is you never know where that like new paradigm shift illusion phase is. Like you don't know exactly where it is, and that's why I say dynamic DCA is your friend. Catalyst, I don't have any thoughts on AGI. Please stop spamming the chat. Matt says, will you reveal your secret risk formula once the bull market is over? I don't know, maybe. Honestly, once the bull market's over, I'll probably refit the risk formula. Because after another bull market, I can probably get a better fit, right? Because we'll have more data. So I'll probably redo it after another bull market anyways. What other questions do you guys have? Someone says, when do you expect the peak of this bull market? I think that the peak of this entire market cycle will likely be a few years from now, probably 2023, quarter 4 of 2022 at the earliest, quarter 4 of 2024, or quarter 2 of 2024 at the latest, probably in 2023. I don't really prescribe to the 4-year cycle theory. Studied nuclear engineering in school. Someone asked me that. Someone wants me to analyze Litecoin. Begrudgingly, I will. As we've said before, with Litecoin, it's one of those coins that I don't personally own right now, and if I do, I would be waiting until Bitcoin gets to its previous all-time high. So until Bitcoin gets to its previous all-time high, I'm not a huge fan of accumulating things like Litecoin and XRP. And the reason, right, is because it just tends to bleed against Bitcoin until Bitcoin gets to its previous all-time high. And you can see that, right? If you look at Bitcoin USD, Ethereum pumped in the beginning of 2016 when Bitcoin got above the 20-week, right? We know Ethereum did. Litecoin, on the other hand, bled. It bled against Bitcoin. I mean, I guess it doesn't show it on this chart because it doesn't go far enough back. Let me find a different chart. Let's do Litecoin USD. Let's go to Bitstamp. And this one does not go far enough back. Sorry, I don't usually use the Litecoin charts. So you can see that in early 2016, Litecoin was not doing anything, even though Ethereum was going way up. It just went sideways. It was once Bitcoin got to its previous all-time high that Litecoin made the move. And this is why I say I personally would not purchase Litecoin right now, because yeah, it's going to go up and down with the market. If Bitcoin goes up, Litecoin will likely go up, but I don't think it's going to see this type of move until Bitcoin gets closer to its previous all-time high. Nick says, but historical results are not indicative of future results. I mean, yeah. I mean, we use it to, I use it to inform my decisions. Like, what do you want me to do? Say, oh, it didn't happen last time, so it should happen this time. Like, the whole point of this channel is to use data science to inform our decisions, not just to pull a number out of the hat and say, oh, Litecoin's going to go up 5x tomorrow. Like, if I don't believe it, I'm not going to say it. So, if you want my honest opinion on something, right? And you don't want me to back it up with data, then I don't know why you're asking me the question in the first place. Does Zach want to say hi? I'll let you guys meet my other son here. You've met one of them. Here he is. So if he could talk, I would tell him to say buy Bitcoin, but he can't talk yet. But his name is Zachary. So, all right. Say hi. Let's check out Tezos. Okay, so Tezos is around $4. But I mean, it seems like it's trending upwards slowly, right, over months. It's certainly not as bullish to say like Link has been by any means. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Currently, it's around $4 though. I don't think there's a ton of exciting. I mean, it's basically. I mean, from what I've seen briefly, it's been moving between like 370 and 430 for the last few days or so. So I mean, yeah. I sort of loosely follow Tezos on the channel, but the main four that I follow are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. And the reason, right, is because you can really learn the trends, how the coins play against each other. You know, like if Link is going into a bubble, then like say taking profits into Bitcoin or taking profits into Ethereum. If you're having to manage a ton of different coins, it can get somewhat convoluted, I think. Can we get some more likes? Thoughts on Bitcoin dominance? Yeah, I mean, I think that as long, like in the short term, you know, let's say, you know, whenever Bitcoin gets to 20K, the dominance is going to skyrocket, right? And then after it gets to 20K, it'll probably come back down some, and then go into an altcoin bubble later on. And then at the end of the bull run, the dominance will go up again, and then it'll probably go down again, and then it'll go back up again after a final bubble potentially. But in the short term, I mean, you know, it's really hard to say. If Bitcoin stays between 11 and 12K, then it's probably just going to keep dropping as the rest of the market continues to just take off. But never forget about Bitcoin. You know, like, you know, people kind of give up on Bitcoin a lot, and then right when you least expect it, all the profits from all the altcoins and whatever, they flood back into Bitcoin at some point. Someone says, "Do you own Dash?" No, I do not. I do not earn money from likes. I don't even have AdSense enabled on my channel, which is why you guys never have to watch YouTube ads. Herman said, "Do you buy any stocks?" Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of the big ones. I mean, I've even made Tesla videos, right? Tesla videos. Probably gonna start talking some maybe about like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Netflix, Facebook, that kind of stuff. Bobo Bobbin says eventually the alts will flood back into Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, this is true. Like it flows back into Ethereum, but then they also do flow back into Bitcoin. You could argue that they're flowing back into Ethereum as we speak, right? I mean, you could. This could be an argument right now. Thoughts on silver? I think silver is probably a decent long-term hold. Thoughts on Monero? I'm kind of, you know, it could go either way on Monero. You'll probably see good returns during a bull market, but there's some uncertainty, right, with privacy coins. I know they have been delisted on some exchanges, so you just have to be careful. I mean, it could see a nice move though. And actually, Monero, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, I think it started pumping at the end of 2016. So it wasn't really at a key Bitcoin milestone. It was kind of doing its own thing. So if history were to repeat, I wouldn't even. It might pump at a time when people least expect it. You know. Link is starting to. Well, it's still below 18, but it's up 17.32. Let me flip back over to Link Bitcoin, because I often think of these things in terms of their SAT value, not their US dollar value. It's 146,000. GN says, I'm talking about other coins while Ethereum is mooning. I've spoken about Ethereum a lot on the stream already. And since you're saying bye-bye, I'll say bye-bye right back. I already looked at ADA. Okay, so this is a good question. Someone says, where would Polkadot fit in the Ethereum rival complement spectrum? Yeah, so Polkadot might be one that I talk about on the channel at some point. It's really hard to say. I think probably it will. Like the DOT tokens, you know, I think they're, I don't want to say too much, right? Like I really don't know at this point, but I mean, I am, I think it could be a decent play. Are there conditions where you would accept a model is invalidated? Well, first of all, what do we know about models? We've spoken about models for a long time. All models are wrong, right? Every single model is wrong, but some are useful. So every model I make is wrong to some degree, right? There's no perfect model that exists. I just find that some of them are useful to use. Remember, if you guys want access to the, I guess the one ad you do see, instead of seeing YouTube ads, you see my own ads. If you guys want access to the premium list, check out intothecryptoverse.com. The prices will be going up in sometime this month or next month in a few weeks. So if you want to get grandfathered in at the lower prices, you should go ahead and sign up, and then you can pay the lower price. So check it out, intothecryptoverse.com. And you get access to alert channels and premium videos, premium reports, and you get access to all the prior stuff too. So you'll get inundated with a ton of material if you're just really curious about cryptocurrency. You'll get information about building a portfolio, like modern portfolio theory, looking at Bitcoin dominance, which a lot of you guys ask about, looking at tons of different things, right? And even the video 2 weeks ago was a recap. So if you're looking for a good time to join, I think now would be a great time. And you can get a discount if you pay in crypto, like a 15% for 12 months. ADA is starting to move a little bit, up 2%, almost 14 cents. So, I mean, I just want to remind people, you know, if we do see, right, if we do see a bubble for Ethereum, which you could argue are already in one, you know, there's nothing wrong with taking profits along the way. There's really nothing wrong with it. Like, if the idea is that you're going to feel guilty, if the price goes up here, if you sold some at a lower price, then, you know, maybe you could just hold. But at some point, right, there will come a time where it'll peak and then it'll drop and then you'll regret not selling, right? So this is the key thing to consider. You just have to admit you don't know where the top is, and then I would say consistently take profits. Someone says, what are your thoughts on XRP? I personally wouldn't touch XRP until Bitcoin gets closer to its prior all-time high. That's my opinion. Obviously it could pump sooner, but it's just not something I feel like there's other coins that will probably outperform it. So it's not that it won't do well. It's just that, like, I feel like there's other coins worth holding over XRP, and XRP would have to get to a very specific location in terms of its valuation against Bitcoin that I've spoken about before I would consider picking any up. Alex says, could we get a 1 month membership? Yeah, you can get a 1 month membership. It's just don't pay with crypto. Just say buy access to the premium list. It's just 1 month. It's monthly. Okay. You don't have to. You only the only reason to do the 6 and 12 months is just if you want a discount. But if you just want to do monthly, you can pay in fiat and just do monthly right here. And if you guys have questions about the premium list, you know, go into my public Telegram group and ask questions. There's plenty of people that'll help answer them. And you can even privately message people. You don't have to talk in my Telegram group, because I know you guys will probably just think, you know, it's, of course, like, you know, probably people aren't going to say stuff bad about it in my own Telegram group, so just, I don't know, private message someone if they're okay with it. Looks like ADA just broke through 14 cents. I mean, until it gets above like 15 cents and continues on, it's basically just, you know, in this reaccumulation area. So it still has a ways to go before it really can, before I'm going to get too excited about it. And Link has bounced back up from 16. It's now back at 1740, which on the SAT value is 148,000. Someone says year 2023 bull market, where do you intend to take profits to? Probably initially, it depends on the markets at the time, right? If the real estate market crashes and the interest rates are low, I could see taking a lot of it to real estate. I have a feeling that precious metals will probably be overvalued at that time, so probably not there. But maybe stocks, maybe some index funds, mutual funds, and real estate, probably. Yeah, and I mean, you could obviously take the cash and profits as well. I'll probably take it into the stock market. I mean, I already have a lot of stocks, right? It'll just be recognizing that crypto's in a bubble and wanting to take profits before it comes crashing down. And note that, I mean, that could happen in the short term, right? I mean, we could be in a short term bubble, and we could easily come back down, you know, and then ultimately continue on. And this is why I say dynamic DCA, right? You want to take advantage of any bubble whenever it forms. This is my goal, anyways. It's not just waiting till the final bubble that may or may not happen 3 years from now. It's taking advantage of the bubbles whenever they form. Just always being ready for a bubble to form. Always being ready for it. Someone says, if Bitcoin starts a parabolic move now and not into 2021, what would be the price, percentage of overvalued red band? First of all, I don't think it's going to do it into 2021. I think it would be more likely to do it in 2023. But if it were to do it now, the lower price, as you can see up here, is 46,695, and the upper one is 68,694. So for instance, if Bitcoin were to, you know, just come up here in the short term for whatever reason, that would probably be where I would be completely out of the market. But I think it's more likely that maybe we see a short-term bubble, maybe we come back down, maybe another bubble later on, and then ultimately, you know, going up in say 2023 or something. That's what I think, anyways. See, what I would personally like to see, I would personally like to see Bitcoin go into a speculative bubble that beats the speculative bubble of 2019, and then people get really excited, you know, like the market gets really bullish, and then I want to see it then come back down in 2021, not down to like 5,000 or anything, but just maybe back down to the regression band, and maybe that's at like 13K, 14K. I would like to see a short-term bubble followed by a retracement back to the regression band, and then we just continue on. That's what I would like to see. Someone says, what do you think a likely downside target for Link is in the short term if it's if the top is 18 to 20? Well, I mean, going on Ethereum dropped 50% in 2016 at a similar time in the market cycle. So I would say, you know, potentially all the way down to $9 or $10 if it were to drop in the short term. I mean, I know that sounds harsh, right? but it's possible, right? We saw it happen with Ethereum last market cycle after it pumped 1,700%. So I think 50% retracements, even for, you know, are on the cards. Yeah, Nick says, do you trade traditional options? Are you talking about in crypto or in traditional markets? Yeah, it's a personal script on TradingView, the regression band. What would change in the hypothesis if Bitcoin drops below the lower end regression band? So I assume you're talking about if it were to drop below here. So if I put on here the 200-week moving average, so this is the 200-week, and as we've shown before, you know, 200-week tends to be the support line, right? I imagine if we come to the bottom of it again, it'll likely coincide with the 200-week moving average, which could provide another level of support, right? And the 200-week right now is at 6,400. And you can note, too, the last time that the 200-week moving average went below the regression band, it did not revisit it, right? It revisited it. It came back into the regression band at the peak. Look at that. Look how perfect that is. Right at the peak, essentially, is when it came back into the regression band. So it left the regression band for the bull market. So, you know, potentially if we leave it, we might stay out of it for a long time, right? And then maybe swing back up in 2023 or something. If the price were to go below the regression bands, I would probably think that it's got to be a short-term move and then we'll pop right back up just like we did over here. That would be my guess. If on the other hand, you're saying if Bitcoin goes down here, and then you're saying that, okay, well, what if it does this, right? And then it continues on like that. Well, then, yeah, then we could say at that point, if that were to happen, then we could say, okay, well, maybe the regression band is no longer something that we can reliably use, right? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but if it did happen, then if the writing's on the wall, right, just go ahead and read it and see what it says. Don't ignore it. Someone says, what percentage would you give a 2021 top versus a 2023 top? I would say maybe there's like a 10% chance the top is in 2021, maybe a 20% chance it's in 2022, and then like a 50% chance that it's in 2023, and then maybe like a 20% chance that it's in 2024, if I had to give probabilities. All right, Link still below 150,000 sats. ADA still not cracking through 14 cents. So I mean, it seems like right now the show is primarily with Ethereum, right? It's the one that's up 10%. So certainly Ethereum is the one that's primarily moving, and you can see that the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio has been going up a lot. Yeah, so it's at 0.0362, right? So it's all the way up here. So yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to continue on in this band for a little while, and probably at some point accumulate and go sideways in there. Yeah, let's get some likes if we can. Let's get it up to 700, maybe 700 likes. Kwaisan says, what would invalidate your lengthening cycle hypothesis in the near term? Let me go ahead and address that. So if I were to ever say, like, I think that lengthening cycle theory is not true in the short term, what would I need to see? Well, I would need to see Bitcoin getting to $20,000 within the next 4 or 5 months. If Bitcoin can get to $20,000 and sustain it within the next 4 or 5 months, then maybe we'll see a peak in 2021. If you see it go to 20K, right? If you see it go to 20K and then it just comes right back down, right? This doesn't invalidate anything, right? We might see a bubble, a short, and it could go up there and then come back down. What we would need to see in the short term is for it to go to 20K, right? Hold it as support and then continue on. That's what we would need to see, in my opinion. P Dizzle and T Reezy, shout out, yeah. P Dizzle and T Reezy, two of the guys in the Telegram group. Rune, thanks for liking and subbing. Yeah, Tristan, sorry I haven't looked at gold and silver. You know, we can go ahead and pull it up right now if you want. So with gold, I mean, you know, we said back a little while ago, I don't think I have the regression band for gold in here. Let me see if I do. No, I don't. It doesn't look like I do. So, you know, I said that I think it's a good, you know, it's a good play for the next 5 or 6 years. I think gold and silver will likely go up. And I mean, there's going to be, you know, there's going to be pullbacks along the way. You know, I would expect something like that. And I could actually see, I mean, I could see gold going to $5,000 or $6,000, you know, over the next, say, 5 to 6 years. Over the next 5 to 6 years, I could see that. And it's going to be painful along the way, guys. I mean, you're going to see these 5 and 10% drops in a day. If we pull up silver, let's pull up silver gold, actually, because I think that's more useful. Or silver, gold, silver, right? They had gold, silver. Yeah, and we talked about, you know, gold, silver when it was, I think, around that region, and said that we're probably entering back into this main channel, right? Like the main channel here. Noting, right, that this was a huge overvaluation region, a huge undervaluation region, probably going to slowly come back down over years and continue on. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think silver and gold are fairly decent. Note that the Sharpe ratios on gold and silver are not that high compared to traditional markets, but the reason is because they tend to just perform poorly for a really long period of time. It's all about timing, right? I mean, for precious metals, you know, you can say it's not timing the market, it's time in the market, but for precious metals, you know, if you had, like, let's look at gold again. Like, the price of gold in 2011 was $1,895, and in 2020 it was also that same price. So you're talking about 9 years where your ROI would have just reached break even. So in terms of the Sharpe ratio, it's these moves here that make it look really bad, right? These moves here. But it's identifying when we're below that primary regression band, which I don't have on Tradingview, but you guys have seen it before, right? We've shown it on a PDF presentation on other videos. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's about timing those undervaluation regions and just taking advantage of these moves, right? And then taking profits along the way and then just getting out. I mean, I know it sounds, I'm kind of overgeneralizing it, right? But I am developing a risk level for gold and silver, actually. Someone said F just had a breakout. Please give your opinion. I mean, that's what we've been talking about the entire video, basically. Sorry, there's like a fly that keeps like flying around me. It's really annoying. So Link still below 150. We were above 150 for a while. So yeah, the price of Link has at least had a short-term correction, but I mean the thing is, right, is if it holds this level of support for, you know, a couple days, then it'll likely just continue going on up. But remember, always be ready for it to go down, and that's why I say have stop losses set if you haven't set any, or if you haven't taken profits yet. Do you think Ethereum in the $200 range days are over? And I don't really know, man. I mean, it could be. If we come back down to the regression band, it'd be about 250. And it's really hard to say. I mean, it could be over, but I mean, as we said, I mean, there's only so much amount of time that you're going to get these opportunities, right? They don't last forever. Someone says, anyone else annoyed that Chainlink won't stop going up? Lost count how many times I've taken a profit. I'm going to put a mad face. I mean, you just have the wrong mentality if that's your mentality. Like, if you're annoyed that you're getting too much profit, like, I can't really help you, man. Someone says, how do you show the TradingView chart to show the whole thing without flattening the lower price levels? Oh my gosh, this fly. All you have to do, man, is just you go to the Bitcoin chart, right? And you just click on log. So, just click on the log scale. See, if you don't do log scale, it looks like that. Click on log, it makes it look like that. It's a logarithmic scale. Someone says, can I choose a specific amount of months? I mean, if you want to pay, I mean, you can choose 6 or 12 months. 6 or 12 months, and 12 months you get a 15% discount. 6 months you get a discount, but it's not quite as high. Yeah, I mean, you can choose more months if you want. You just, when you go to the checkout, you just say you want like 2 orders of something, like 2 orders of, like, of 12 months, and then it'll give you 24 months. So yeah, make sure you check out the premium list if you haven't. The prices will be going up soon, so if you get it now, it'll be grandfathered in. Thanks, Jeffrey. I'm glad the risk stuff has been helpful. Nick, I don't really talk about options on the channel, mainly because I don't want to be the reason someone like looks into like leverage trading or options. I just don't want to be the reason someone looks into that. So I just don't generally discuss options on the channel. Someone says it is a good time to consider changing ERC20s into Ethereum. I mean, this is up to you, man. You know, if you invested in a lot of ERC20s and you're up like 50x or something, like take the profits, man. Like, you know, I mean, you don't have to sell everything, right? But you could sell portions of it, right? You don't want to watch it go up and come back down without taking any profits, right? Create a better life. Like, make sure you live to fight another day in the market tomorrow by cashing out some today, right? And putting it into less risky asset. That's my opinion, right? I mean, if you want to ride it up, it maybe the ROI for you goes up even more, but in terms of risk management, and depending on how high you are up on your ERC20s, you might want to offset some of that risk. Someone says, is your premium list worth it for just regular DCA buy and hodlers, or only for traders? I mean, I think it's worth it because you can figure out like what coin to buy that week. But you know, if you're on the fence about it, like, you know, don't worry about it. Like, just, I would say continue doing what you're doing. Like, if you don't think it's worth it, then that's completely fine. I would say though, if you are a buy and hold kind of person, like at some point you're gonna want to sell, right? I would hope so. Like at some point you're gonna want to sell. People keep asking me what price I'm selling Link at. You know, I really reserve that kind of stuff for the premium list where I set the risk levels and whatnot, so I don't want to say it here. Someone says, can I pay for 2 months and cancel anytime? I mean, just pay monthly. It's just a recurring monthly subscription. You just pay it and then you can cancel it. Someone says, what's included in the premium list? So you get access to, like, I think it's like 6 things now. You get a weekly premium video, a weekly report, an alerts channel, a Telegram alerts channel, which kind of tells you what's going on in the markets, a private chat room that goes with the alerts channel, a dashboard that has the risk levels of a lot of different coins, and the S&P 500, and I'm going to be putting it on there for gold and silver, and then a dashboard to show you how to dynamically DCA, how to plan out a dynamic DCA strategy for Ethereum and Bitcoin. So that's what you get. Sorry, I'm not a tax expert, so I can't really help you on specifically your tax situation. No, currently the math behind the risk levels is not published. So if your goal is to join the premium list to get that, then you will be disappointed. If you do 1 month, then cancel, and then you hike the price, do I get still? I mean, if you cancel, you're not grandfathered in. If you don't cancel, you are. Someone says, do you have dry powder on the sidelines? You're just bouncing between the coins. I have both, right? I mean, I always have money on the sidelines ready to get into a coin when the risk gets low enough. And then I also do some key positional swing trades, especially like, going from, say, like a Link or something into another coin during a bubble. As many of you guys know, I was buying ADA up to 10 cents. Once it got to 10 cents, I did sell. I set a stop loss above 10 cents, and I took 1/15 of my ADA profits and moved it into Ethereum, which turned out to be very timely because then Ethereum started pumping. So it's a little bit of both. What other questions do we have? Should we call it a day? Diego says it seems that he won't answer my question. So does anyone know how to see the regression line on TradingView? It's not published right now. It's just my own. Like, you can create a regression line. It's just you know, just you know, when you just open up the Pine editor and you can plug in any regression line really. I mean, it's not a complicated equation, right? It's just a logarithmic regression like equation, right? That's all it is. So you have to. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I got to get going. It's getting kind of crazy. But make sure you check out the premium list, check out the Telegram channel, and I'll talk to you next time.